Hello and welcome to timer 8 of To Make It Go. On the last timer, I finished up, well, didn't finish, I got to as far as I wanted to get with my annotated response walker. Today, well, this timer, I'm going to be building a walker listener. It's going to be this walker listener's job to generate some JSON for me. And then, I will, well, I'll see if I can do that. That is my goal. Generate some JSON based off of out response from this dude. Okay, so add snooze annotated. Annotated response. JSON listener. There we go. We're going to build us some JSON. We're going to implement that interface. There we go. Well, step 1. Call that setter, make sure that we get it. I'm not even going to bother testing that. Just going to do it. Because I don't particularly believe in unit testing getters and setters. Because that's how you just have a test that should just work. We're going to give that a getter. There we go. Get the response curve, do some stuff. Okay. So now the fun begins. Let's also give ourselves, how do we want to write to the file? I'm going to say we're going to do this with a print writer. Okay, print writer, yeah. So that means I'm going to, because that way I have a print. Okay, so get a constructor here. Get a constructor here. Listener. That's not how you spell listener. List. Enter. Listener? Might be, I don't know. To say it's, no, I don't know. Something about that word's not looking right in the current font. Okay, but that's probably just me. So we're going to have a private print writer. Printer. I'm also going to have a private byte array output stream. I'm going to call that the buffer. So I'm going to make a new buffer, and I'm going to give it to the print writer, and then I'm going to flush the print writer when I'm done and get my JSON out of the byte array buffer as a string, if that made any sense. There we go. Printer equals new print writer, and I should just be able to hand it a buffer. There you go. Look at the Java IO-ness we've got going here. Okay. Give ourselves a public string. I'll call it render. Okay, so what this is going to do is this is going to return a new string from buffers byte array. We're also going to call printer.flush. So we're going to flush everything in the printer into the buffer, and we're going to get its true string. There we go. Okay. That's pretty straightforward. Now we can start writing some tests about this guy. And we can start auto-generating those tests instead of typing out test single object enter. So there we got a new one of these dudes. listener dot. Let's single object. No members. So nothing's in there. So I'm just going to be like object. And then we're going to exit object. Enter object, exit object. There we go. So now from this, I would expect something that looks like we're going to call this type type colon object. There we go. Got an empty string. Okay. So printer.print did I have any? I did not. So we go print the object identifier. Print the quote. Well, actually, that goes down here. Colon. Or we could just put all of this in there because it's at type. Code it. Okay. There we go. Add type object. Now in exit method or exit object, we need to print that. Now it says we differ by some means. What do we differ by? I'm going to click to see the difference because I can't tell. Space. I differ by a space. There we go. Ta-da! First test passes. Okay. So let's print it with a single member, a single string member. A single object, a single member of type. Single member of type string. Okay, listener.enter method. A string. Exit method a string. And then we need to enter primitive. String value, comma, string.class. Okay, and now I would expect a comma here, a string, colon space, string, value. Okay. So now we're going to go into enter method. First thing I do is I print out a comma, space, the method identifier, colon space, okay. Exit method needs to print out none of that nonsense. Nothing. Exit method prints out nothing. Now, for now, I think all I need to make my test pass for this guy. That, and then return.print value. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da! Test passes. Okay. Now, we need to ask some questions. Because we need to make sure that now we're going to have a couple more of these guys. They're going to be typed type Boolean. Primitive, we're going to say true. We expect a Boolean. Actually, we're just going to say Boolean. Boolean. I don't particularly like passing a string around. A string. Make sure I didn't break that. So Booleans in JSON do not get to be quoted. Actually, at this point, there's only two, so we'll test the whole thing. Test single object with Booleans render, okay? And in this case, we're going to call this guy true. We're going to call this guy false. And instead of using b.class, we're going to use b.type. That way I handle both the uppercase b boolean and the lowercase b boolean in the method type. So I expect this to be true. Expect this to be false. I expect this to be lowercase true. I expect this to be lowercase false. There we go. Look, it does exactly what I would expect it to do, except it just quoted things. Okay. So we're going to take this, I'm going to make it into a method called print quoted. So if else, so if method.returnType dot is assignable from Boolean dot class. And the last time I did that, I did it backwards. So we'll flip it this way. Boolean is assignable from method.returnType print printer.print value. Because Java's toString will already match JSON's accepted type for Boolean. Okay. Now, did we do anything else? False, true. That is telling me, well, number one, that my test is wrong. And at this point, I don't know that I'm moving to use that method.returnType equals Boolean.class type is not what I want. I want Boolean dot capital T type. Okay, here we go. Okay, I can print Booleans. That's neat. So now I have to worry about numbers. Because everything else I can just flat out two-string. Except like dates and stuff. But we'll worry about formatting dates if I ever decide that I need to print a date. Because at the moment I don't know that I have any requirement to do so, and getting ahead of myself like that would just waste a lot of time with me choosing a date format. And by a lot of time I mean approximately half an hour. It'll be a full timer of me sitting here and playing with simple date format, being like, do I want a military time? How do I want to display this? And then in the end, you just watch me send it down to a time and format it, and the client sign it differently. So we're going to avoid that for now. So now I need numbers. Because numbers get to be not quoted. Copy that whole method with numbers. Okay. Object. Let's go int. Int. Integer. Integer. Let's do integers first. So this is integer dot value, because I said low type, sorry. I'm apologizing to you, you're not even there. And we'll make that 0. We'll make this 1. Integer dot class. And it quoted him, which is what we expected it would do, because I have not written any logic. Now, I'll extract this into a method called is JSON primitive. Now we'll need to go into that guy. And we're gonna keep adding ors to him. All of the ors. Actually, at this point, I want to do exactly that, but I want to put int, our Boolean class type. Okay. So let's do that. Private Boolean is one of. Class question mark, class. And we have a class question mark dot yeah. If my class dot equals arg, return true. Otherwise, we're going to return false. We have type. Type. There we go. And the first argument is this one. So you're a JSON primitive if you're a Boolean, integer, an integer. And now you're going to watch me do that for byte, short, integer. We got integer, we got Boolean. We then get float, double, long, And there's one more. Oh, what am I forgetting? Oh, well. We'll figure it out when I get right through the list. Okay. Well, strictly speaking, big decimal, too. And big integer. But we'll cross that bridge when we'll burn that bridge when we get there. So, we got int. Let's start with the smallest. Actually, at this point, I don't know that I wouldn't be better off smashing these all into a single test and saying something along the lines that test primitive renders. That would give me the added benefit of putting all of the primitive tests in one spot, but some people would argue that it violates the single assert rule. I don't know that I'm one of those people. Well, at the same time, I can artificially inflate my test numbers if I do it that way. And I won't have to write these really, really long strings. So I will keep putting them in separate methods. Or separate unit tests. It also is more incremental feeling, I guess. So you can be like test object numbers with integers. So test single object with integers renders. Ints. There you go. And that way, if someone's like, well, you don't render negative numbers, right, they'd come to this test, and they'd come to all of them. Because I'd probably make the mistake of all of them. See, yeah, there we go. Okay. Actually, at this point, I don't even have to test that. I only have to test the primitive. I just have to test is JSON primitive. That's all I need to test. Are you protected? You're now protected. Okay. Test is JSON primitive. We need a new one of those guys. Listener dot I'm going to use assert that, and we're going to put a true in there, even though it's a bit of overkill. Assert that is, and we're going to assert this guy is. And we're actually going to just say, yeah, there you go. Because this convinces me that I can render the types. Well, I don't even need this. Test single object with primitive. With JSON primitive, renders without quotes. Okay, there we go. So we need Boolean. We need a short. Fails. That doesn't even compile. There we go. Oh, there we go. I am rapidly running out of time, so I will keep typing as fast as I can to get these out. So I'm just going to iterate over the basic types that I'll need to handle. This will be a type. Make sure the test pass fails because short dot. Slow down a bit. So what I'm basically going to do is go build up all of the types that should toString out properly into JSON primitives. Because that's that. We need integers covered. This test should pass because I got a little ahead of myself. It doesn't pass. Which one? Integer.type? Integer.type. No, it's run again. It should be the short type. Yeah, there we go. See it pass, see it fail, there we go. We now need float. Float. We need its class. There we go. It strikes me that I should put those in a hash map and make that faster, but I don't know that iterating over 5 things is heavy. I don't know. And then I just dump the static data. Okay, we need double. Make sure I see the test fail. Make sure I see it pass. Fail. Pass. So we got Boolean, short, integer, right. We need a long. That is a long type. Watch it pass. Watch it fail. Watch it pass. There we go. And now, the very own, the best one of them all that I saved for last because I forgot about it, is byte. And you would ask, why in the world would you render out a byte? I don't know, maybe you wanted a signed number that's 4 bits long? Or 2, yeah. 255 to negative 255? I don't know. Which one did I do first? Class. Okay, so that should pass. No, it shouldn't. I didn't do anything. Oh, I can also reference the primitive type by using a dot class. I'll show you this in a second. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but I think it's neat. You don't have to use the short dot type or the primitive dot type. You can also use this. I'll show you. I'll let the test pass and type. So there we go. You can also use lowercase b dot class. Yeah, that's syntax in Java. Keyword dot keyword, which I think is neat. And that didn't compile. They mean the same thing, as you will see by this test. There you go. So now I have my primitives. So then I will print a value of that. There we go. Now, the only thing to handle is entering objects inside of objects and entering objects inside of lists. For that, I will have to use a stack, which will be a bit of an adventure because I'll have to have contexts that I care about to make sure I keep my commas going as I would expect them. It's not a very big deal. It means I'm mostly going to take all of this stuff and put it into helper functions and then shove it down into a new, and just pop a new one of my objects in lockdown, an inner static class that I'll delegate to. So I'll have an array context and an object context, and I'll just pop them off, push them off, pop them off as I go when I enter and exit. That is all I'm going to show you for this episode. A little bit of formatting. And there you go. Those are all of the primitives in Java, excluding the wonderful type of void that we saw. It is technically a primitive. I don't know that I've ever seen it used, but I guess you can get it off the method type. And I passed it to that guy. There you go. All the uncoded things, except null. I should test that as well. So that is primitive or null. And I will make a note of that for the next episode. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you when I see you. Farewell.